let's be 100% honest here. When you play Warframe, they do quite an interesting job at explaining what all of these machines are. Not the decorations, the machines, because there is a quest that involves basically activating all of these, including the arsenal at the back, and introducing you to your Warframe, and it did take them a long time to get round to doing that, but they did eventually do that when they kind of started implementing quests. But with this happening on the 26th of April, when you first start Warframe, you will be given a choice. You can either choose the left side, which would be the Warframe path that would throw you into the game as it normally would, and it would start to play the original cinematic that kind of showed off the Warframe abilities that I'm now realising is going to be a complete nightmare to actually try and fit into this very, very short part here, because that is a 6-7 minute trailer. Yeah. It did a good job of showing off the Warframe abilities and some that didn't exist, so they did eventually have to add that to the game because it didn't make sense to show off an ability that didn't exist. We'll skip over that. Or, if you go to the right side, you have the Duviri Paradox, the Paradox path that will instantly throw new players into the Duviri Paradox. Meaning Duviri Paradox will be available instantly. There is no question of it or anything else. Obviously, you will have to do the quest, and it's going to be a long time before a lot of what happens at the beginning of that quest will be explained to new players. Quite a long time. If new players really wanted to know, they could quite easily just look up why you suddenly have a hand on your arm, but we're not going to go too far down into that. And after that, once you have completed the quest for Duviri Paradox, Duviri will then be open to you. Not really sure how you're supposed to get to Duviri, considering the entrance to Duviri. It is based in the Dormer Zone, inside of, the Dormer Zone. It's on the Zariman. Yes, once you come out, you can go to the normal door. I'm going to have to jump in the game to show this properly, because I'm really interested in seeing how you get back to Duviri Paradox after completing the quest the first time round, considering this doesn't appear until after you have completed the new war. So I'm assuming that the Zariman is now a fixed craft. It's going to be there constantly, because it kind of has to be for new players to have access to the Dormer Zone, because the entrance to Duviri is going to be inside of your Dormer Zone over here at the door that doesn't open and doesn't have any lights on and no longer has Teshin's swords there if you swap to your Drifter. That is an Easter egg that is now gone. But yeah, Duviri's going to be behind this door. So how this is going to work, I am very interested in, because it means the Zariman is going to have to be available and accessible to new players, at least this part, because they did kind of show that when you come out of that door and you go over here, this door is going to be locked. Let me just demonstrate that. It's going to be locked and you're not going to be able to leave to get into the rest of the Zariman. And it will have an option on it to enter the Origin system. This will kind of start off the next quests and other things and introduce new players who have completed Duviri Paradox to the rest of Warframe, but they will have to complete Duviri Paradox first. But I'm still more interested in knowing how they get back to the Dormer Zone to get back to Duviri Paradox, or to Duviri, if the Zariman is now going to have to be a fixed thing. We won't know until this launches on the 26th, but you're going to be able to leave through the Dormer Zone and enter the Origin system normally, that they said you would be able to have access to Vor's Prize instantly for, which of course was the original starting quest. I'm going to alter this ever so slightly, but I don't know if this is true or not, because Vor's Prize is not actually the starting quest anymore and has not been for quite a few years now. When you start playing Warframe, you are not introduced to Vor straight away, because you have to complete this first. It does kind of say this: if you choose the Paradox path, the Warframe path will open to you in your progression. Basically, upon completing the Paradox quest, you can go to the Dormer Zone and exit to the Warframe path. Which I like the fact that it actually says there. But yeah, it's literally a cinematic quest. You will instantly have access to it, and you will be able to play the new content with existing players instantly. So it's for new players, not pre-existing players, is the biggest thing that I kind of took away from this. Choosing which path you want to go down. If you're a new player, you can choose the Paradox path, play the Duviri content straight away, because the frames you can borrow, the weapons you can borrow, the mods that are used on both you can borrow, so you don't need them to play the Paradox stuff. You will earn them as you go, but they will loan you some to actually be able to play it. You can also earn Warframes from the Paradox path. It's a weird path, it's very interesting, but you can see it written on the Warframe path, battle through Vor's Prize and the Origin system. So this even says Vor's Prize is the opening quest. Technically it is, the other one isn't a quest, it's more of a... The Awakening is the first thing you do when you start playing Warframe, then Vor's Prize is the first quest. Technically Vor's Prize would be taking the bolt off you so he doesn't take over your Warframe, but that's spoilers. And then it even says, the Paradox path will open to you early in your progression. If you choose the Warframe path, you have to complete Vor's Prize first, and upon completing Vor's Prize, the Paradox path will become available and is something you will be able to do. This is what they said. How this works out, we'll just have to wait and see. This basically means that the new content will be available instantly to all new players. And they did demonstrate Oberon is a frame that Rebecca didn't have, and she was able to borrow the frame to do missions with, whereas Megan owned hers, and even the mods that are inside of it, you are able to borrow if you go the Duviri Paradox over the Warframe. If you go the Duviri path over the Warframe path. So if you go the Duviri path as a new player, you will have weapons that will be loaned to you to be able to play this content. You will have... she owned Excalibur Prime, don't get too excited. Yeah, I like how they've done it, but at the same time, it's all just will it, won't it? I mean, come on, the Zor as a weapon that you can borrow instantly, that's actually pretty good. The Scanner, not so much, she had the Founder Pack. So no matter if you are a existing player or a new player, you're going to have instant access to it. Even if you haven't got to a point where the Zariman has appeared, it's probably going to appear because, well, the only thing you need to have done to unlock Duviri Paradox as an existing player is completed Vor's Prize. And if you have played Warframe pretty much at all, you've completed this quest. Because it's the first thing you do in Warframe. You complete that quest. Every other quest in here does not need to have been completed to play Duviri Paradox, which I do like, but I'm still a little bit worried as to how this is going to play out, because throwing people straight into Duviri, there's a lot of story behind Duviri that people have tried not to mention because it's spoilers and everything else. This means we can now avoid talking about the Drifter and using the Drifter, because he's basically going to be the starting character of the game. Even though the Drifter and his relationship to a Warframe isn't going to be explained till... here. That's a lot of quests to get to the second dream, isn't it? So I'm really interested to see how the Paradox plays out, considering it's going to ruin pre-existing storylines in the game for new players. And with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.